All right, welcome back, everybody. Episode 47, Yard by Yard podcast. Picks and preview. Going to be a quicker episode because we've only got a handful of good college games and a handful of good NFL games. Just kind of rapid fire. Going to do a little bit of that, break down some stuff as well. Let's dive into it. Last week on my record, I was 1-2 in college and 3-3 in NFL. So not great lately in college, but in NFL, I've been, I was 100. So I'll keep 100. I'll stay with the 100. First game we're gonna get into, we got, this is kind of the cupcake schedule day games. Most of the big teams are playing shit schools, so we're not gonna get crazy matchups. But we do have one SEC matchup that, depending on how it goes, can cause some chaos. Missouri at Oklahoma. Oklahoma is a 7.5 point favorite. The over under is 42.5. John Mateer on the year has 2,000 yards, only 8 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. He's been hurt, of course. But the biggest thing about Oklahoma is their defense is playing lights out. Their defense, ranking in the country, they are fourth in rushing yards allowed with only 82.2 a game. And it's going to be an interesting matchup because Missouri has one of the best, maybe the best running back in the country in Ahmad Hardy. And Missouri's offense averages about 241 rushing yards a game. And now you bring in Ahmad Hardy, who has 1,300 yards on the season, 15 touchdowns, and 197 rushing attempts. So you have a really interesting situation here happening with both of these teams. I'm excited to watch it play out. I think the one thing that gives Oklahoma the edge is just the defense and how the defense is way better than Missouri as a whole. And Missouri's on their third quarterback. So Missouri is not, at full force here. I think Ahmad Hardy's the only thing they have. Oklahoma, this, if you can get out to a good lead in this game, this would be a nice game for you to kind of, rest, maybe see if you can rest John Mateer enough if you just start beating the shit out of Missouri like A&M did a couple weeks ago. I don't know if Oklahoma's on the same, playing field as Texas A&M. Oklahoma cannot run the ball as well as Texas A&M can, but it's going to be, I think this is going to be an easy win for Oklahoma. It should be, Oklahoma, you are basically, you're in the driver's seat to make the college football playoff if you win out. You just got to win this game, and then you got to beat LSU, and you are set, to make the college football playoff and go on a run here. See if you can do that. Missouri, kind of, not really a promising year. It was a promising year until Bo Prabula got hurt, but in that, a couple of these games, you were kind of able to see, okay, this school is not as good as what we think they are. A little overhyped, I would say Missouri is. But I think Ahmad Hardy's really good, and he's a really fun player to watch. And don't be shocked if, that guy's first round pick at all. So I got Oklahoma winning this game. Excuse me, I got them winning it. Next game, Louisville at SMU. SMU is a 2.5 point favorite. This game is in Dallas at SMU. Over under is 53.5. Both these teams are two teams that had expectations of making the playoffs. It seemed there for a little bit that Louisville was going to have a chance to run the table, make the playoffs, win the ACC here, especially after you beat Miami. But then you lose to California in overtime at home, and that kind of put it in there. SMU, you come off the great year of going to the playoffs last year, and you lose a game, second game of this season, that double overtime game to Baylor. You lose 45-48, and then you lose it at TCU, and then you lose at Wake Forest. So not great for SMU, not the season that you wanted. Rhett Lashley's name has been everywhere in the paper about being, the Arkansas head coach, anyone else's head coach. But I think SMU wins this game. I think SMU, as of late, has been playing really good, and I think it's not mainly just SMU playing really good. I think it's Louisville just kind of going on a downward run here because, look, Louisville, you were looking great, and now you've lost two in a row. And the game that you just lost at home Friday night versus Clemson, a Clemson team who has not been good all year, and you blew that game. You had the opportunity to win. Your kicker messed up. You had the opportunity to win there multiple times and take the lead, and you didn't. And you blew the game away, and it was horrible, and should be disappointed in yourself because if you take away these past two games and you win against California and you win against Clemson, you are looking at a playoff run right here. You're looking at being that SEC, you're being that one ACC team is going to make a bid into the college football playoff. Now you're seventh in the ACC, and things don't look good. And after a great win against Miami, now you're sitting there like, what do we do now with Jeff Brom? You got to keep Jeff Brom, of course, but Miller Moss has been the one who's just been incredibly inconsistent. So huge, huge game here for people who are wanting Rhett Lashley to leave. If Rhett Lashley loses this game, I think there is just more and more possibility that he leaves and goes to Arkansas. If he wins, I think he's just further extending that he's not anywhere. He's not going anywhere. So I have SMU in this game. I think it's going to be an easy win for them. Do I think it's going to be a little bit of a back and forth game? I definitely do because both these teams can score and both these teams have really good offenses when they start rolling. So I got SMU winning that one. Next one is who do we have next? Who is this? USC at Oregon. This is the game day game. USC at Oregon. Oregon is a 9.5-point favorite. The over-under is 59.5. This is game day. I am very excited for this game. I think this is going to be a very fun game. Very cool game to watch. Seeing both these teams. And look, USC has put themselves in a position now to make the college football playoff. If USC can beat Oregon here, Oregon is in a situation where they'll only have one good win, and your one good win is at Iowa. I don't know if people can point. You can't point at winning at Penn State being a good win anymore because of seeing what Penn State has become since that loss. So, if you're Oregon, you cannot mess around this game. If you're Oregon, you have to win this game. And now, if you're USC, look, man, you are playing with house money. Let it rip. If you win this game, your chances of being in the college football playoff significantly increase. I think you definitely move up. And look, I mean, this is a good matchup. This is a good matchup between two great quarterbacks. Mavia has 2,800 yards on the season, 18 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Dante Moore, was in the Heisman race until that Indiana game. I think he should still be in the Heisman race because he's really good. He's thrown 21 touchdowns on the year, 5 interceptions, and 2,100 yards. Running the ball, USC has been very good. King Miller has run the ball 100 times for 719 yards and 5 touchdowns. And Mekhi Lemon is possibly the best, behind Jeremiah Smith, maybe the best wide receiver in the Big Ten at USC. 7 receptions, 8 touchdowns, and almost 1,100 yards. I'm very excited for this game. I think this is going to be Point City. I don't think there's going to be a chance that this game is going to be low scoring unless there's weather issues. But still, in that case, these two teams, when they play each other, always make it an exciting game. If you think back to 2010s with Matt Barkley and, LaMichael James, Marcus Mariota, these were really fun games to watch. I think this one's going to be another really fun game to watch. I think Oregon is – I want to go with the homer pick and say Oregon's going to win. But there's been times where Oregon has not impressed me where I thought they would have. But they do seem to find a way to win always. They're kind of like Georgia in that fashion. And it makes sense that Dan Lanning came from Georgia because Oregon has this factor to them if they are rolling, they are rolling, and they are going to curb stomp you. If they're not playing as great as we expect them to, they're going to make some mistakes and make it a really tough game for themselves, like Georgia has done at times this season and, times in the past, past couple of years. Oregon wins this game. I think Oregon wins, but I think this is going to be a really close game, a really tight game. I wouldn't be surprised if it came down to the last second field goal. I just am really excited for this game. This is CBS getting Big Ten. This is the one really awesome game that I've been able to see on your schedule besides Indiana this year to be like, this game is going to be amazing. So I'm very excited for this game. This is going to be a really fun game to watch. And I got Oregon here winning this one. Last one, BYU minus 2.5 at Cincinnati. The over-under is 54.5. Look, Cincinnati was a team I was kind of high on there. I know I talked about it a lot, a few weeks ago when they played at Utah. I was high on Cincinnati. I thought they were going to be, a dangerous team here in the Big 12. Turned out that's just not the case at all. I'm trying to find the game on CBS, but I can't find it. This is embarrassing. Oh my gosh, wait, is this at 11? Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be a really good game. I'm excited to see, but I'm excited to see BYU do a little bounce back after this past, after that loss against Texas Tech because they really just got their teeth kicked in. Brock Myers has been playing great on the season as a freshman. I still don't think he should be able to wear 47. You know the tangent I go on people wearing the number 47. I don't think it should happen. I don't think it should happen at all. Um, I am I'm kind of weary about Cincinnati because of that game they had um, at Utah. Now it's at Utah, a very tough place to play, especially at night, but they got their teeth kicked in as well. So these are two teams, and look, BYU is still very much in the playoff conversation here with one loss, but if you're BYU and you lose this game, you are out. People are even saying you're out right now with that one loss, which I agree because you got smoked by Texas Tech, and other than that, your best win is Utah. It's Utah. Um, yeah, I don't see anything for BYU that's screaming playoff to me, and it's mainly because of just how bad they looked against Texas Tech. Maybe now is that more of a credit to how good Texas Tech is? It very well could be, but I lean more on the side of I just haven't been impressed with BYU, and I wasn't leading up to that game. Now I took them. I picked them against Utah, but that was mainly just because I I they were at home and I really liked what BYU had going right there. But I don't feel good about them as a team overall to make the playoffs. Do I feel good about them in this game? I really don't know. I think the fact that if this was in Utah in BYU, I would pick BYU to win this by landslide, especially after seeing that Cincinnati quarterback play so bad in Utah at night. Um, I'm going to take Cincinnati here. I think Cincinnati is going to win this game. I think Cincinnati is, just going to have it's going to be a weird kind of, home game for them. And I really think I'm going to see Cincinnati win this game. I think we're going to see that quarterback play a lot better than, we have previously seen him play. And yeah, I see BYU losing here and they're just knocked out of the playoff picture for good, which I think a lot of us are going to be happy about because a lot of us don't believe in BYU like most people do. All right, we will wrap up with NFL. Got four NFL games. Steelers at Bears. Bears at a 2.5 point favorite. The over under is 44.5. That over under is very low, but that's because both these defenses have been playing really good as well. This is the game. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to play. He hurt his wrist, that left hand. It's kind of in doubt whether he's going to play, but I feel like he just wants to play the Bears one more time and beat the Bears one more time. So I'm going to predict right now that he's going to play this game because it'd be fun to see him beat the Bears again. Caleb Williams, despite all the critics saying he's not good, he hasn't been playing great. The guy's only thrown 4 interceptions on the season. He's got 2,300 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. I'm confident in Caleb Williams. I think, look, everyone likes to hate him because he, spins out of the pocket, just rips balls as hard as he can. And paints his fingernails, all this stuff. But he is an awesome quarterback. I think he's a very good quarterback. I think that the Steelers' defense, though, is going to make a statement this game. I think there have been a lot of people lately who have been coming out and saying, yeah, the Bears, they're getting these lucky wins, lucky wins. Look, maybe the Bears just know how to win, and that's the thing with Ben Johnson. But I think this is the game that it ends. I think the Steelers defense, I think we're going to see a Steelers defensive type of performance like we saw when they played the Colts. I think J.J. Watt, Peyton Wilson, Alex Highsmith, I think they dominate in this game, especially rushing the ball. Jalen Ramsey coming off of getting spit on by Jamar Chase. I think we see him play out of his mind. I mean, all he'll have to do is lock up Rome Odunze because they don't throw the ball to DJ Moore anymore. The one thing that the Steelers defense is going to have to be able to handle is the running game for the Bears because they're second in the league in rushing yards per game, averaging about 146 yards per game. But defensively, against the run, the Steelers defense is ranked 13th with 106 points per game, 106 yards per game averaging. Just giving up at a time. So I am going to take the Steelers here. I think the Steelers are going to win this game. I think it is going to be a gross, ugly game. I think it's going to be defensive kind of battle, running the football. I don't think Caleb is going to have the much success as we've seen him have. And I also think that Aaron Rodgers just wants to beat the Bears one more time, and I think he'll come back this game and he'll do it. So I have the Steelers winning this one. All right, game of the week. Colts at Chiefs. Chiefs are a 3.5 point favorite. I don't know how the Chiefs are still favored against teams, especially the Colts, with how good the Colts are. Over under 49.5. I'm taking the Colts this game. I am. I'm done being scared of the Chiefs, and a big part of that is after last week. I'm done being scared of the Chiefs. I'm done being just sitting here like always being like, oh, they could, they could, they could. We could look at a situation after this week, and I think we will, where the Chiefs are going to be 5-6 and they're going to be out of the playoffs. I don't think the Chiefs will make the playoffs. I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. This doesn't look like a Chiefs team that we have seen from the past couple of years. One that the boogeyman is coming right around the corner. No, I don't feel that way against about these Chiefs, and I think a big part of that is them not being able to run the ball really well and not having a very good secondary. Their pass rush and their run defense is very good, but their secondary is not good. Bo Nix, Troy Franklin, Cortland Sutton, they played great in the passing game. And now those guys are great, but that isn't the only team that's played against their defense really well in the pass offense here. I mean, there's a lot of teams who've had a lot of success. I mean, the Jaguars had a lot of success. So and I think Danny Dimes is legit. He's thrown for 2,600 yards this season. 15 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. You have Jonathan Taylor as well. That is going to be actually the matchup of the week. I'm waiting to see the offensive line of the Colts, who I think is up there with the Broncos, the best offensive line in all of football. Going up against the Chiefs defense and Chris Jones that knows how to stop the run, knows how to play well, but Chris Jones is only one guy. You're going to need a lot of guys to play well and stop that offensive run game if you're going up against the best running back in the league, and in my opinion, the MVP of the league as well in Jonathan Taylor. He's rushed for 1,100 yards this season, 15 touchdowns, on 189 attempts. And we also keep forgetting about Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren in his rookie season has been playing lights out. If it wasn't for Emeka Egbuka, I think I'd give the offensive rookie of the year to Tyler Warren. But Egbuka is obviously the number one wide receiver for the Buccaneers and been playing at a really high level. So I've got the Colts winning this game. I think it's going to be a close one because I think the Chiefs are going to do enough to muck it up. And I just shit on the Chiefs as so much, and I believe what I just said. But there is still Patrick Mahomes. He's not just going to get his ass beat in a regular season game at home. I don't think that's going to happen. So it's going to be a close game, but I think the Colts win this one, and I think we see the Chiefs out of the playoffs after this game as well. All right. All right. Eagles -3 at Cowboys. Over under 47.5. Yeah, I'm feeling Cowboys here. I am. I think a lot of this might just be recency bias of watching the Cowboys against the Raiders, and they just killed the Raiders and how bad the Raiders are. But I think the Cowboys offense is really good. Now, do the Eagles have maybe one of the best defenses in the league? Yes, they do. But we've seen a lot time and time again against the Eagles secondary this year. Whoever you put against Adoree Jackson is going to have a hell of a game. And if Dak plays the way that, he plays when he's hot, when he's on fire, whoever Adoree Jackson is guarding, and it's going to be either George Pickens or CeeDee Lamb, you are very comfortable with that guy scoring 2 touchdowns in this game. And that very well could happen. One of those guys could get 3 touchdowns. I think that's how bad Adoree Jackson is against wide receivers of other teams. I think one of these receivers is going to have a hell of a day. I think the big thing that's going to be an issue is the defense. They have one of the worst defenses in the league, but I think playing at home in Dallas in the afternoon slot, a big game, coming off this big win, it's an emotional win because you lost your teammate. I think we're going to see the Dallas Cowboys here might go on a little run to try to make the playoffs. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think they're going to start the conversation with a win here at home this weekend against the Eagles. And look, the Eagles, as well as a lot of other teams who are just winning ugly, in the NFL, the Broncos and the Bears and the Steelers. I think we're going to see the Eagles play with their food too much here, and you're going to play a highly powered offense who's going to know how to attack your weaknesses in the defense, especially the secondary and Adoree Jackson. And I think we're going to see a Cowboys offense win this game. So I've got Cowboys winning this one. All right. Bucks at Rams. Rams minus 6.5. Over under 49.5. This is the last game. I love the Rams in this game. I think the Rams are just the best team in all of football. This is going to be a really just quick one because I think there's something going on with the Bucks. I don't know what the issue is. I know Bucky Irving was back in practice today as a limited participant, but is he going to be ready for game time? I don't know. Also, is that even going to fix everything? I don't think it would because of how inconsistent your offense looks, how Baker's not looking his usual self. And the Rams defense, giving them credit, they are one of the best defenses in the league that we are not talking about as much. They're a young group, but they are really good. You guys hear me talking about them every single week. I mean, they've got Emmanuel Forbes playing really good. Shula, their defensive coordinator, he is going to be a head coach, after this season. I'm going to, go ahead and stamp that right now. I totally see that happening. But it's just Matthew Stafford and the Rams is playing at such a high level, and you have Puka Nacua who's playing out of his mind, and you also can just give the ball to Devontae Adams too and not have to worry about anything else. So I'm taking the Rams. I'm all over the Rams in this game. I think the Rams are a good chance they kill him here, especially because the Bucks have not figured out a way to rush the passer, and if you give Matthew Stafford all the time in the world, he is going to dice you up. So I've got Rams winning that one. All right. That is the episode. I appreciate everybody listening. It's been a fun one. We're going to have a great weekend. Hope everyone has a tremendous weekend. Programming update. Next week, because it is Thanksgiving, and I will be traveling, we're going to do one episode. One episode Thanksgiving. It's going to come out either Tuesday or Wednesday. I might do it Wednesday so we can kind of, put it right in the middle of, the recap of the weekend and the preview of the week. So it's kind of just right in the middle there. I'll do the Thanksgiving day. I'll do the Thanksgiving games. Actually, since it's the Thanksgiving games and most people are going to be traveling on Wednesday, I'll put that out Tuesday. We're going to put that out Tuesday. A lot of people are going to be traveling Tuesday and Wednesday. You can listen to those. It'll be a good show. But, programming update, we'll have one show. It'll be a long show, a packed show. It'll be fun. Might even bring on some guests. Who knows? It'll be a good episode. Appreciate everybody listening. And as always, enjoy the football.